Preseason keeps rolling on, and for the first time this year, we were out at training. Let's catch up on all the latest. Coming to you from Studio K, presented by Circle K. It's the PHNX Rising podcast this Wednesday. It's Wednesday. It is February now, which means we are inching ever closer to the start of the season. Remember, as we're here in Studio K, you can join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit circlek.com for details. Right, Rees, we are about a month away from the start of the season.
That's wild. This offseason
we are
comes by
almost
so fast. There. Yeah. I mean, is Max going to be back by then?
He may be. He may
He's
not.
He's been gone
be.
for so long. I mean, I'm starting to miss him. I'm starting to miss Max Simpson.
You're missing Max Simpson?
I know. He's been gone for so long.
He's not here.
It's just terrible.
Leave a like for Hot Dog Reese there. You know.
Oh dear me.
Oh yeah, Hot Dog Reese. You'll never get away from that one, Reesey boy.
It's
you
terrible.
know that. It's not going to happen. You will always be. I don't know. There were so many different nicknames that he had there. I'm not going to repeat all of them because we don't need to. You're right, but it is a Wednesday. We had the first press conference of the season today. We had a few other things as well. Of course, Rising went away to Coachella, played there in a behind closed doors friendly against LAFC, where we know some of the details about what happened there, and of course got to see a little bit of footage posted online as well. But Rees, how are we feeling right now? Again, you know, we kind of, sometimes we delve into this very specifics early doors, but let's just think total overall vibes. Where are we at right now?
Well, we haven't seen any of the actual friendlies, so there are no vibes quite yet.
There are no vibes. Chat, let us know what your vibes are, by the way. We got a fat kid. Sadly. It's you're not wrong. Yeah. It's hard to really have vibes when you haven't seen a whole lot. What I can say, and I'll kind of kick off with this one, a little bit from training, a little bit of insight I can give. The vibes on the training ground felt incredibly high today. Just there were a few different things I'll take just immediately off the bat. What you kind of saw in that, I feel as though the session was at times maybe a little bit more intense, but not necessarily in a bad way than we've seen perhaps over the prior year at times. At the same time, the number of the boys coming over at the end of the session, smiles on their faces. The music blaring as they're doing the conditioning afterwards. The fact that, you know, a lot of the boys just, it felt like it was a much more positive atmosphere, I think, than we've seen there honestly, in a little bit, to be perfectly frank.
That's pretty good to hear, because I think the last thing any of us want is to be in that like July, August, September part of the season
when everything was miserable.
I mean, no one wants to see that again, because it's, you know, the dog days of summer, when they get bad, they get bad. It feels like everything that's bad in that time of the season gets just 10 times worse. I mean, I was watching the highlight that Rising posted from that LAFC friendly. I'm assuming it's their only goal. Who really knows? But I mean, just the vibes on the pitch. There's a back heel in there, a nice first touch, free flowing football. So, you know, who really knows? Because from the videos that have been posted, we can assume it was at least 4-1 in that match to LAFC. But that one,
there were 4 goals noted by the opposition in there. So look, it's a. Absolutely, I think it was an interesting one, just from a perspective there of pulling everything together. I mean, look, again, going around Patrick's not on the Saturday time yet. Yeah, I mean that's true. We're not at that point, and there's a part of it as well here whereby we have to be honest and say, on the one hand, look, it's easy to have the higher vibes when it's preseason, right? Nothing bad has happened. The real kind of come back to me and tell me about it then kind of moment will be when, and realistically, most teams have this happen to them at some point in the season. Say you lose 2 on the bounce, right? That's kind of the time when you come back and say, okay, how do the vibes hold up? How does the mentality in the team hold up at that point when you are, no longer at a point whereby things are kind of, getting ready. And there's a competitive spirit there. And we'll get into parts of that later on as well. But realistically, right now, things aren't quite the same in terms of there's not the stakes at the minute that maybe you will have later on down the year. And how that holds up when you get into that position, that's really going to be the test overall. I mean, as we move on, I tell you what, we can talk about that last game. We can talk a little bit about, obviously, LAFC. Yes, this team conceded 4 that we know of. They score that 1 goal there, and it's a very good bit of link-up play in and around the penalty area there between Ihsan Sacko, between De Silva, who's one of the academy kids. And that's something as well that we've seen a lot of, I think, is a lot more academy kid involvement. And there has been, from what I'm hearing, more of that as well in training at the moment, which is good. I mean, it's a good sign in general, I think, to see more integration of some of those academy kids. And while it hasn't been lacking in prior years, in a lot of ways, it feels like maybe now is the time when it's starting to come together, which makes sense. These things take time. You can't just flick a switch and you've got an academy that's functioning and churning out top players that are capable of playing at this kind of a level. So maybe this is the time where we start to see that a little bit more, and maybe 1 or 2 of those players are capable of involving themselves more in the first team.
For the teams that you've seen around the league that have done a good job integrating players, I mean, they've benefited off it. You've seen Louisville just sell. Was it Elijah Winder they just sold? Because Josh is the younger one who moved to Benfica, but Elijah to MLS. Orange County's continuously benefiting off their integration of young players. So it benefits everyone. Rising could make a profit, and you get a young player experience. It works out for both sides, doing a good job there. And it is something that Rising, you mentioned, they have lacked over the last few years. I mean, there really hasn't been that list of names that have really come through. I mean, there obviously ones are going to be good, pointed out, like the Blaze Hardy who played in the.
But even then, that was more of a. He wouldn't have played if it wasn't for the fact
that
that scenario happened.
Exactly.
I mean, the real one, I guess, would be a Niall Dunn, but we all know that. I mean, look, he struggled with injuries. It was, yeah. He struggled with injuries. He never really got to make the mark that he wanted to. But. I mean, besides that, I don't know really who else they've pulled up and really it felt featured over a period of time. There were a few that played in the year that Juan Guerra was here, but even then it was somewhat limited. Just kind of by nature, it'd be interesting to see if maybe there's a little bit more integration there. But speaking on the one hand about the academy player involved in that one, we also should speak about Ihsan Sacko and getting him off the mark. In this preseason game. Look, we can talk, I guess, about him and a little bit more about what we're hearing and what we're seeing. But I think it would be a good thing to start with Pa-Modou Kah, Rising's head coach, talking about Ihsan Sacko.
Oh, Ihsan been great. He's a great pro. He's integrating very well with the team, and obviously it helps also that there's some French-speaking players here, so that kind of helps him integrate. But I think he's a seasoned pro who has played in France, who has played in Swiss, so with an international background. So we're very happy as a club to have him.
Coming over, of course, from Switzerland, he hasn't really had a full off season after playing half a season, over there. Yeah. How does that factor into how you plan for this coming year with him and how you'd use him?
Well, he actually made a joke about having 3 preseasons this year, so that kind of fit into where he is. But we're looking forward to it, obviously, with the help of our performance coach, Devin Manifold. We are in good hands, and also we pace players according to their needs.
Yeah, so again, I think there's been a lot of positivity around Sacko, obviously from that clip. Look, is it very decontextualized? Is it an individual clip that kind of just, gives you, a brief little glimpse into what he maybe is capable of doing? Yes, absolutely it is. But if he's capable of replicating that on a Saturday in USL Championship, you've got someone who's going to adjust to it very much. Look, again, the question wasn't, I think, in part, well, it wasn't mostly, is he good enough for this level? It was more how he was going to adjust. And while there is a difference between maybe the caliber of opponent that you'll see in LAFC and maybe the way they'll choose to play versus how FC Tulsa will come out at the start of the season, yes, I think there is. But that doesn't mean that, we shouldn't feel probably pretty good about what you saw from him in that game, in that moment.
Yeah, and bringing up his season, about how he kind of didn't really have a true off season, but also he kind of didn't really have a true preseason with the Swiss team FC Thun, because he only played the 9 matches and it was really only a handful of minutes. So it's not like he's coming off this strenuous first half in Europe, but it's still really not much of a break though too. So it's going to be interesting to see how well that, or how he adjusts. I mean, you saw Kah mention it, but still.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, besides that, I did ask a little bit about Remy Cabral and the decision making that went into bringing him back in this one. And something that came up was, look, he's a guy who wants to be here. He's a guy who really was after everything he dealt with last year, and he did deal with a lot last year, between injuries, between personal things happening outside. But he wanted to be back here in Phoenix. He felt this was where he wanted to be, and Pa is someone who looks at him and thinks, I think they can get a bit more out of him than we saw last year. And if you can balance the two there, you can have Remy Cabral providing goals, you can have Ihsan Sacko providing goals, and again, the reviews on Sacko and what we're hearing, pretty decent reviews I'm getting right now in terms of how well he's training, how he looks in some of these preseason matches. There could be something there that provides, I think, a bit more attacking threat than we saw last year.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how that Sacko and Cabral combination would work out. Would they play together as one's, more of that target forward, one drops back? Is it strictly, one's the main 9 and one subs on, say around the 60th, 70th minute mark? That's just one thing that's going to be interesting to see how Kah works that out. I mean, who do you think really is in pole position now for that pure number 9 spot?
I mean, it depends on how they come out, really.
Yeah.
It depends formationally how they look. I feel as though the likelihood is it's probably going to be Sacko who starts the season, but that doesn't mean that that's going to be what happens. And I mean, look, there's also a long way to go. There is a month to play.
Yeah.
There's no guarantee that someone doesn't hit form. There's no guarantee that someone doesn't pick up a knock. All of these different things can happen between now and, again, it's a month away. There's a good chance here that things can change. Things can change very quickly in this sport, and it's difficult to, I guess, make those predictions, especially when, realistically, we're taking these off of two kind of things. Number one is we're looking back at what they've done in the past, and number two is that we're kind of having to take what people are saying about these players, because we're not really able to see these performances for ourselves and assess them for ourselves. When you're in that position, you have to take it all with a pinch of salt. And I'm not sure that so far we've seen enough to really make the determination. But either way, I think it's going to be an interesting one. And it's interesting to see if you can find ways for Remy Cabral to get involved that either maybe he plays in a different position. Maybe Sacko plays in a slightly different position. There are different ways that you could possibly put these things together. We know that versatility is something that Pa-Modou Kah was definitely, I think, looking for in the squad that he was putting together. He wanted players who are capable of contributing in different ways, that they weren't one-dimensional players, that they weren't people who were going to come in and kind of fill one role, and that was going to be about it. So I think that's, there are so many different ways that they could go, and until we, I think, see a bit more of them, and to be honest, even seeing the friendlies, I think that we're going to see, until they finally take the field against FC Tulsa, I don't think we're going to entirely know what the plan is.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching some of Sacko's tape from when he played in Switzerland and some of the when he was in the French leagues too, and bringing up the versatility, that is something that he does offer. I think you can play him as a 10, you can play him on the right wing, which it would be, I mean, I don't know how you would fit him more on the wing, because this team has so many wingers, which, it felt like at the start of the offseason, it was every signing was a winger for a good moment. And so then, you have so much attacking versatility. I really want to know, I'm really excited for that Tulsa match just to see what bodies are out there. I just hope that this team's more exciting to watch than last couple of seasons, to be honest.
I think we all hope that.
Yeah.
Because that's a big thing, right? You know, it's... And again, just to take the comment that Pa made back at the fan Q&A, you know, would you rather win 1-0 or 5-4? And he said it was 5-4, and it's obvious because you want to go out and entertain the fans, and that's a large part of this. But at the same time, you know, the challenge with it, of course, is you can say you want to go out and win 5-4, but then you got to get the 5 goals, and that's easier said than done against almost any team, to be perfectly honest with you. Well, when we come back from the break, we've got a little bit more to talk about in terms of some different positional battles that are going on. But first, you know, Pa-Modou Kah may be at the wheel for Phoenix Rising, but you can let the Waymo driver take the wheel when you're going out and about around the town, and indeed going to Phoenix Rising games as well. It's convenient, easy. They've got those nice modern cars driving around everywhere. The Jags. You enjoy a good Waymo ride, yeah?
I do.
It's comfortable.
They are. I've taken them quite a few times. You pick your own music through the Google Assistant. It's just amazing.
You pick your own music. What are you playing?
It depends on
what are you rocking out to in the Waymo car.
Sometimes, you know,
are you the guy who sings very loudly in this since no one else is in there?
Well, usually I'm riding with friends, so then it's a different atmosphere.
It's a different atmosphere. Okay. But if you were taking one alone, would you be that guy?
No comment, but probably
no comment.
Yes.
He
But
would
probably
be.
Yes.
He would be. There we go. You've heard it here first. Rees is the guy who sings very loudly in his Waymo.
Yep.
Yeah, that's why you know he's having a good time. You can have a good time too. Download the Waymo One app and ride today, and you too can sing along the whole journey. And you know what? There's a Suns game on tonight, and you can go catch some Suns watch parties over with our friends at Spinato's. They're doing all kinds. They got a contest going on at the moment. It's kind of like a basketball horse contest. You any good at that?
It depends.
They're spelling pizza instead.
Ooh,
P-I. I'd say Z, you're going to say Z, so that's going to, there we go. That's controversial. Don't want to get into that one. Both the parties and the contest give fans the chance to win free Suns tickets and free pizza as well. Can't go wrong with that as long as you're not picking a Max Simpson pizza. So, what's better than free tickets and free pizza? Again,
not much.
Not much. Don't miss your chance to be part of the action. Remember, the excitement starts over at Spinato's, and you can get all the info on the watch parties and their pizza basketball contest at spinatospizzeria.com. Spinato's the official pizza of the Phoenix Suns. Right. We need to get talking a little bit here on some other kind of positional battles that are going on. We spoke a little bit about kind of what this team is going to look like up top. But there's also another pretty big one, right? And it's a big one that's left here by the departure of Rocco Rios Novo, who has been, for Phoenix Rising, kind of the rock at the back in a lot of ways as the goalkeeper, the guy who you always could depend on. Didn't have a whole lot of real errors, I think blunders over the course of his time here. There were a handful, but the fact that we can name them also tells you how rare they are. So they're going to be, for a reasonably short guy by goalkeeper standards, he's leaving some pretty big boots to fill. And they're going to be filled by, realistically, either Patrick Rakovsky or Tristan Henry at this point. Now, we did have a chance to speak with Patrick Rakovsky at the press conference today. Here's what he had to say on the battle.
Well, I mean, it's 2 weeks in. We both played basically one half against MLS teams with kind of academy players in there as well. I think we're both doing really, really good. It's a really fair, competitive fight, and I mean that's what we want, right? We don't want any dirty fights. On the other side, we also want to be challenged. So I think it's going to go up till the last week. We're going to fight in the trainings, fight in the games, and it's up to the coaches who's going to get the spot.
So what has been the messaging then from Pa, from Corey on kind of that positional battle between the two of you?
I mean, just do your best. I mean, I don't think that there's any advantage right now for me or for him. We both come from a similar situation. We both were not the starting keepers last year. We both are really experienced on the other side. We both won championships. I think we are similar style of play, with again maybe a little bit different strengths, and then again we battle it out in the trainings and in the games, and at the end the better one's going to play.
I think it's going to be the most interesting one there. And I see Goalie Pat in the chat, living up to the name, of course, of Goalie Pat, with saying the goalkeeper battle will be interesting, and it will be, I think, this year. The real question is, I mean, right now, who realistically do you go with? And it feels as though it's not obvious at this point.
No, because, I mean, for Henry, he had the form with Forge, really didn't play much last season at all when he was with Memphis. And Rakovsky has that same issue where he didn't play at all in the past couple of seasons for Rising. So you really can't judge him off last season's form. It's a whole new battle, just clean slate for both of these guys. I really like. I'm intrigued to see how this ends up going. I mean, he talked about it in that interview there, where it was they each got a half in both of those MLS matches. I wonder how long it's going to take before one really pulls away. I really don't know if I can lean either way because we don't know enough. I mean, we know enough about these guys, but not based off these last couple of seasons.
I think one of the big things as well, and it's going to be a stylistic thing about where the team is planning on going here. I think one of the most important things is if this team is going to look to play out the back, if they're going to look to, need that goalkeeper who's going to be reliant on his ability to pass, and his ability to find teammates in that kind of a way. I think it's one that Tristan edges over Rakovsky. But even then, it's not entirely clear. And I mean, we know, I doubt that we're looking at a team that's about to turn around and say, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to become, the most aggressive football you've ever seen. We're going to be hoofing it forward.
Please no.
We're going to play full on Neil Warnock kind of like,
please no.
Anti-midfield ball, who needs the midfield when you can just lump it over the top of them? That's not, anticipating what we're going to see at all. But there's also scales. There's scales, though, of reliance on the goalkeeper as someone who's going to get involved in the build-up play, who's actively going to get involved in that way. And I mean, we know from our conversations with Juan Guerra when he was the head coach here that one of the big things that the advantages that brings you, of course, is it gives you a numerical advantage effectively. When you're able to bring them up, say when you're in possession of the ball, bring them into almost the back line and pass it around, and it lets you move someone else further up the field. It can be risky as well, but that's a really important part of it. And I'm not sure if, I feel as though when you look at their track record, this is something that Tristan Henry has, I think, a little bit better of a record of doing than Patrick Rakovsky does. But there's so much else that could go into this decision as well. Look, earlier on in the conversation, it was something that Patrick, when I asked him about, what were the thinking that went into coming back here, and he said, obviously, personally, I want to play. Any player does, but if that's an element as well in him coming back here, does that suggest that he thinks maybe he's got a better shake at getting minutes here than maybe he would at certain other clubs?
Yeah, I mean, back to the playing style. I mean, in the few times we saw Rakovsky over these last 2 seasons, he wasn't deployed in the same role that Rocco was, where he's joining, kind of that back line when Rising are in possession. It was much more just, your typical goalkeeper, much more reserved, much deeper. I mean, there were a few times he'd enter to make a pass, but it wasn't constant like we saw with Rocco, and because he came back for playing time, that kind of points to me we're not going to see that aggressive mindset from the goalkeeper position this year, where they're going to sit back more, be your typical, more just standard goalkeeper rather than so risk reward like we saw last season, these last couple of seasons with Rocco.
It's a very different kind of style. I mean, Rocco did it, I think, to a degree that, again, we don't really, I think, expect to be seeing. I will also add here, and this is another comment that came in from Pa-Modou Kah today, particularly on the goalkeeper battle, which is if you want to become a championship team, you need to have players that can push each other, and that's what we have. That seems to be the focus here, really, is, again, these guys need to be pushing each other to the wire each week, really, to continue justifying their spot in the starting 11. And it's good to have that competition at goalkeeper. Equally, though, what you need to avoid is getting into a kind of situation, I think, where we saw earlier on in this club's history. I'll take it the one season in particular where you see the constant switching between Andre Rolls and Ben Lunt. And there was a period whereby Rick Shantz, as the head coach at the time, was kind of alternating them week in, week out, and that's not a particularly effective way to go about things. It meant that we didn't see the best out of them really until the end of the season because they couldn't get the consistency. They didn't really nail it down. But that was, I think, just a really big and really important kind of, you want to avoid that being the case, even though you want, the ability to change them out and not necessarily feel like it's a massive step down as well.
Yeah, I mean, with that goalkeeper switching, I totally forgot about that, to be honest. The switching between Rawls and Ben Lund. Those were two quality goalkeepers. I mean, they probably could have started that in that season at most, if not all, of the USL clubs that year. I mean, and then Lund obviously got recalled. It to me, that was just so. I think that was just because you have such high quality in those two. I'm not saying Rakovsky and Henry aren't quality, but I don't think they're to the level that Rawls and Lund were in that. Was that 2022 or 21 season? 21.
Yeah. 21. It was not Rick's final season. Yeah, no, it was. I mean, I'll say this one on here with James's comment about nothing against the tactics, but every time we did it with Rocco, it's almost a heart attack. It worked all the time. There were multiple times it hits. It's true. What I will say, and I think we're all guilty of this to a degree, right, is when you tend to, in moments like that, fixate, I think, on the negative. Also, because to be fair, when it blows up badly. It looks pretty bad. It's not... it's not a good look. The key thing is that it happens very rarely that it truly blows up, and more often than not, it does genuinely help you to have that as an option, but only if you have the right player to execute it, of course.
Yeah, I mean, when I was reading James's comment there about there were multiple times it hurt us. I mean, I just thought instantly to multiple matches, like where there was a mistake from Rocco at the back where he may have come off his line a little too aggressively, like that San Antonio match from a couple of years ago, and it that stands out. But you don't think of the moments where it was just good buildup he is contributing. You don't think of that positivity. It's goalkeepers a position where their bad moments stand out hard on a harsher scale than anyone else's on the pitch.
It's pretty much like it's a goalkeeper, and it's probably your number 9. Number 9 who misses a few sitters. Mm-hmm. That one really sticks in the mind when you look at the guy and go, he's 6 yards out. How does he put it over the bar, right? It's those two players who get it a lot more than, say, the misplaced pass in midfield. Not least because it doesn't always, you might remember the misplaced pass, but who are you thinking about? Are you thinking about the right player then? Mm-hmm. Unless they make a real trend of it? No, you're probably not.
Yeah, I mean, you're not thinking of a winger missing a cross either. It's just like you hyperfixate so much on the goalkeeper position and the striker position. It's hard to really judge them fairly, those moments, to be honest.
It is. It's hard. It's hard. They're not easy positions to play. No. They're not easy. Shout out to Harry as well in the chat coming over from San Antonio. That game coming up relatively early in the season as well. Sunday afternoon game, San Antonio away.
Oh, yeah, away.
It's going to be a Sunday afternoon away.
A lot of afternoon games this year.
There are going to be a few afternoon games. Rising has an afternoon game. You coming out to the afternoon game, Rees? You coming out to the afternoon game, Kyle?
Oh, yeah.
Saturday afternoon.
I like afternoon games.
Afternoon in mid-April.
I don't know if I like afternoon games in mid-April, but I also don't know if I've ever
it can go one way or the other. That time of year, it could be either like nice or it could be hell on earth.
Yeah. There's no in
between. It's Arizona. We don't do in-betweens like that. It's either going to be actually really quite nice, like kind of spring training kind of level, or it's just going to be miserable.
Let's hope it's not the second one.
He's desperately hoping right now.
Oh, man, I'm just thinking right now about how hot it could be, and I'm sweating thinking about it.
Sweating thinking about it? You're not coming in the full suit?
Absolutely not.
I think you should. Reese, full suit, mate. Come on.
No, thank you.
Would you agree here, Kyle? He needs to do full suit.
Oh, absolutely.
Kyle, no.
Full suit.
No, man.
Full suit, Reese.
I have a question for you.
Don't you have one?
Nope.
Would you rather it be really nice out, but Rising don't play well, or the opposite, where it's miserable out, but Rising play well?
See, that's a good question because... Well, I feel like
this is when you hide in the press box with the aircon blasting out.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's how we do it. I think that's the way it's got to be.
Yeah. No, that's valid.
That's got to be the way it's got to be, right? Well, you know what? We will talk a little bit more about some other news around the roster construction, all of that in a minute. You know, it's pretty bright out there today. It's going to be pretty bright out for that day game as well. You can help yourself in that bright Arizona sun because it is very bright out there. Get yourself some Shady Rays. You can go over to their website, use code PHNX. You get 35% off of those polarized sunglasses. They're good, they're durable, they will keep those eyes from being, you know, you step outside normally here in... Honestly, it's February and I step outside here and I'm just like, you take a second, you know, just adjusting the eyes.
Yeah.
Like, it's really bright and it's only going to get more extreme. So make sure you go get yourself a pair of those Shady Rays. And of course, if they ever go missing, take an unexpected hit, don't sweat it. They have their lost or broken replacements policy. If you don't love your shades as well, exchange them for a new pair as well, free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop with Shady Rays, and quite frankly, you're gonna love them anyway. Remember, go over to Shady Rays, use code PHNX for 35% off of polarized sunglasses. Okay, and of course, it's that time of year as well. It's February. The big game is coming up in the near future, which means that our friends over at Gila River Resorts and Casinos, they've got a big game of their own coming up with a chance to win $5.9 million with their free prop play. So through February 8th, that's Saturday, isn't it? Saturday, it's really coming up quickly.
Yeah.
Go to HelaPropPlay.com, answer 26 questions about the big game for your shot at the grand prize. It's free to play. You go in, you enter your predictions. There are instant wins as well. You can win up to $5 to $100 in free bonus play while you play. And if you answer all 26 questions correctly, you win that $5.9 million grand prize. Remember, you do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit play@gila.com for more details or check out the link in the description below. Right. We need to move on a little bit more and talk about something else here. You know, we've obviously spoken about the last friendly. There's only so much that we've seen out of that one. One thing that did get picked up in the prior friendly was a little bit of the sharing of the armband around. One of those players who wore it, Jill Margarita. I know you're a big Jill Margarita fan. You know, we're gonna hear in a second a little bit more about Jill Margarita and a little bit about what Jill Margarita kind of means to this team, but also a little bit about the captaincy from Pa-Modou Kah. But come on, you express it yourself before we kick in. Jill Margarita, come on. We got the president of the vice president of the Jill Margarita fan club over here,
Mr. Aura himself. I mean, we all see the aura.
Who has more aura, Jill Margarita or Stephen Bunting?
Ooh, that's difficult. That is very difficult because, you know, the darts aura is on another level, I feel.
It is different.
It's a different type of aura. So I'm going to have to go Bunting there, but Jill's aura cannot be denied.
Peter Wachuri?
Ooh, another good shout there. See, the darts aura is just like, it's above everyone else's aura.
There we go.
But, I mean...
Jill's aura is okay.
It is high. But, I mean, listen, we talked so much about how he brought that creative spark last year. I'm intrigued to see what he is like as a leader if he does become that captain, because he wasn't here for long enough last year to really judge too much on him. I mean, he just brought the spark, which is why I rate him so highly. So, but it will be interesting to see like what that looks like if he does become the captain for next season.
All right, let's have a listen to what Pa-Modou Kah had to say on Jill Margarita.
Gerald obviously is a huge piece to what we're doing, but so is everybody. So for me, everybody has to show up every day and perform, and we're going to need his performance because he's one of the most experienced players with an international background. So for us, those things are very important, and I'm looking for him to have a great season.
Jill being one of those players we've seen wear the armband in pre-season so far, have you made any decisions yet on what the captaincy is going to look like this year?
Well, the staff and I, together with the players, obviously we've created a leadership group. The players know who they are, and also the captaincy will be revealed in due time.
Yeah, still no news at the moment on the captaincy. Obviously, some form of leadership group in there. Not a huge shock. And we saw the captaincy was revealed quite late last year. Partly, I think, also as well. Look, when you have as much turnover as you have in this team, you kind of want to give players an opportunity to see who steps up and takes that captaincy for themselves. And that can be something that you really look for in moments like this.
Yeah, and we've spoke about this a few times this offseason about how we wouldn't be surprised if it's like a captaincy by committee approach for at least the start of the season before one clear candidate comes out and emerges. But it is interesting. I do wonder who really is a part of that leadership group beyond just Pop-Marboy and Gerald Margarita. Those are the two that we've seen wear the armband through the friendlies.
You'd imagine Patrick Rakovsky.
Patrick Rakovsky, I wouldn't be surprised. And maybe a couple other names there, but I wouldn't really be able to pinpoint who. But I mean, that means they're all pushing each other to get the best out of each other. And I think that's what you want to see when you're building that culture. So with under Kah right now,
right, and that's one part. I will say there's another thing I kind of want to bring up here as well. It comes out we don't have a video on this one for you at the moment, but I will say this one said today when I asked Pa-Modou Kah about further acquisitions, if they were looking to add more to this squad, he said, I think we're where we need to be, but obviously we're always looking for quality to inject that can help the group, and went on a little bit further, but effectively the message was that we're happy with the group that we've got right now, not ruling out more people coming in, but they're happy with the group that he's got there. Is there any way you still think this team is a little bit light?
I think on the back line still, and I feel like we've said that the last few weeks. Fullbacks probably is not quite the biggest need. I think you need center backs behind Pop and Mo Traore. I mean, Traore can play as a left back, and if he does, then you need another center back even further. I know Carl Sante and Noble Okello can play as their center back, but then you have questions in midfield. So I think just strengthening up the core of the back line would do wonders for his team at the moment.
Absolutely. And it's not just, the centre backs is the obvious one just because of lack of numbers. But again, I think when you look at those full-back positions, some of those guys, you have them. You may have the numbers there. You've got your Ryan Flood. You've got your, there are others as well who aren't necessarily, I mean, Harvey Neville springs to mind on this one as well. They're not necessarily defensive full-backs. I think that's a real kind of, a real question mark going into this season is how that defense is going to look like. Are they prone to be maybe liable at times to give away opportunities in those kind of positions? Because if you don't have the most defensive-minded fullback saying you're playing a back four, there's a real risk there that things don't quite end up going your way, that you're going to risk giving up too many opportunities. You're asking centre backs to cover a lot of ground there, and while yes, you look at some of the centre backs that are available to Phoenix Rising at the moment, and I think they are mobile centre backs. This is not a team that's gone for there are names I could give right now, and if some poor old ex-Rising players would catch strays, but I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. But there are. Obviously, we've all seen centre-backs that you look at and they're good, solid, they're good in the air, they're good in the tackle, but what they're not is quick to move. They're not the most mobile. We've seen those kind of centre-backs throughout the years at Rising, quite frankly, at many other clubs. That's not what I think we've got here, not what we're dealing with, but you also still have to be cognizant of the fact that they can't cover all that ground. And if your fullbacks are incredibly attack-minded, if you're playing with a back four, there is a risk.
Yeah, I mean, with a back three, which we saw at the start of last season,
you get away with it a bit more.
You can get away with it. Yeah, you can have your wingbacks be more defense optional. We saw that with Edgardo Rito last season. But when you're playing the back four, it's so risky, and I'm so interested to see who really takes up those left and right fullback positions. Because I mean, Harvey Neville can play on the right, Colin Smith can play on the left, but you got Flood there too. Traore is playing as the left back too. He played that a few times in 2023. It's the numbers that are going to be in there is so interesting because it's like Pop-Marboy has shown that he is so physically gifted. He can run. He wins aerial duels like it's almost nothing. Some of his numbers from last season were just jumping off the charts. No pun intended. But it's just
that is a terrible pun.
I know. I didn't mean it, but then I realized, this sounds like Max Simpson, so I needed to apologize to the people there. But it's just. I mean, then again, but like, how does the midfield combine with the defense when Rising sit back? There's a lot of questions that we just don't have the answers to, and probably won't for a month and a half, really.
Right, and that's the thing, is that even, you say, well, we'll see, maybe in the few preseason games that we're able to watch, we'll get a better idea as to, what we're looking at, but we may not.
Yeah, exactly.
We may not. A lot of things are often subject to change in these kind of games. You see rotations that you don't see in real games. You'll see a degree of, and it's kind of the nature of it. Coaches may well not put a true starting 11 out in any of them, in part because, especially say a week before, do you want to give it away?
Yeah.
I mean, the red versus black game may be a case where you see that, but again, it's that risk because, quite frankly, it's open to the public. The lineup will be known. Do you really want to put that out there and say? I mean, alternatively, you could just be that you're confident enough in your own group that doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm intrigued.
But a lot of coaches are not that way.
Yeah. I'm interested to see how the rosters look in that black versus red friendly. Is it first team, second team? Is it a mix
That's
of
the
guys?
question, yeah.
Because if it's a mix of guys, then that match really does not mean anything. But for getting a grasp of what
kit
this is gonna
reveal
look like.
that costs $20.
Yeah, but it's a Friday kickoff.
Friday, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You are not wrong on that front. I do have to take offense at one comment in here, and I'm going to have to go with it. Goalie Pat, are we really talking darts aura? Isn't that one level above jump rope aura?
Those are fighting words, some might say.
I mean, Rees is... I can see the anger stewing
Steam's
over in him
coming
right
out of my
now.
ears. My head's on
You got to
Mars
watch
after
the
reading
darts.
that.
You got to watch professional darts,
Exactly.
and you get it. You
it
get
changes
it at that
your
point.
mindset. You might think this is a joke. This is not a joke. This is a serious sport.
See, the thing is, you can't say that with a straight face.
No, you can't. But it is.
But Rees means this.
I do
right?
mean it.
This man will be out here like refreshing web pages with scores to see
Exactly.
pointless games.
Like, we will be watching the Players' Championships in a few weeks when it's literally just the two players
It's
and a
like
referee in a
20
room.
boards in a
It's
leisure
beautiful.
centre.
That's like what the sport's all about. You talk about how certain moments in soccer are the beautiful game. That's what it's for. That is the beautiful game. Darts, the Players' Championships. That's just the pinnacle of it.
I mean, it gives you a lot of a very different look. He can't fully believe it. Rees got bullied by a 9-year-old last season. I ain't scared. Wow.
I'm still searching for my high five, by the way. Tell him that.
You got bullied by a 9-year-old.
Well, he wouldn't give me a high five, so.
You got bullied by a 9-year-old.
He gave me one.
I know. I saw it.
You didn't get one.
I think he even gave Max one.
Any more thoughts on Rising at this point, though? After we finish discussing the fact that he's getting bullied by a 9-year-old.
I'm ready to get the season started.
You ready?
Yeah.
You ready? The countdown is on. It's
It is,
not that far away at this point. Rising, opening the season against FC Tulsa, 8th of March. And February's a short month, so it is like a month away at this point. It's
but that's the same day as the Belgian Darts Open. What will we do?
That's in the morning,
I know,
Rees.
I
Come
know,
on.
but-
Time difference, my friend. Time difference. I know it's big, but it's not the biggest thing on the on the calendar for that day, I'm sure. I know. You are never gonna Rees.
As Harry says, are the Rising fans still so down that darts are the highlight?
No, Harry, darts is great.
Darts is
Why
always
is
the
this
highlight.
all we talk about on here now? It feels like.
Well, I mean, the
I feel
off
like
is so slow.
It is a
There's
slow
only
off
so
season.
much you can do. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true. I mean, yeah. I know Rees is a big darts guy, of course. I know he was furiously refreshing Twitter today to get the latest updates on Luke Littler showing up 45 minutes late to the promotional photo shoot. Yeah, I mean, you love the darts.
Absolutely.
Kyle, you love the darts.
I do.
There we go. We all love the darts on this podcast. So we won't take that negativity, Gully Man Pat. We don't need any energy vampires in the chat right now, okay?
Brings
No
back
energy
some bad
vampires. And
memories.
we're not talking about that club either, so don't even invoke them in the chat.
What
Thank you
club's
very
that?
much. No.
Mighty.
No, we're not talking about that club. What we are going to talk about when we come back, I'm sure we'll have any other business from around USL Championship and, just football in general. But before that, you might notice that Max is missing. He's not here. Did you notice that one, Kyle?
Once again, I can't find Max in the office.
We can't find him. And why? Because sources are telling us that Max has been down to his local True Leave and he's picked up the exclusive magic marker from Cult Cannabis. And Max is having a good time, I hear.
Yeah.
At home.
I actually saw him there one time. So
Yeah.
I know he's out there. He's going to those True Leave locations.
We know. There we go. Max has been to True Leave. He's picked up their exclusive magic marker, which is back. You can visit trueleave.com to find a local shop near you, by the way. Look, you hear Max talk about it all the time. This man, I mean, we see him walk around with it all the time. He's always ready.
Yeah.
Always
got
ready.
it on him.
He's always got it on him. And they also opened a new True Leave location in Maricopa. So maybe Max will move down to Maricopa now. Who knows? You can get on over to trueleave.com to find your local shop. Place an order and, of course, tell them that PHNX sent you. And, we're coming up towards the start of the season. There's a road trip pretty early on. Road trip. El Paso. It's drivable. If it's drivable, what does that mean?
Max is driving us all the fans.
Right, but where are you filling up your car
Circle
before you
K,
drive?
obviously.
Circle K, come
Obviously,
on.
sorry.
But Max is buying Polar Pops. We'll say that now. Max is buying Polar Pops from America's Thirst Stop. And of course, if you are driving over to El Paso, you got to fill that car up. Join the Inner Circle program. It's free. If you haven't already done it, I don't know why you haven't already done it. You save 25 cents per gallon on those first 5 fill-ups. And thereafter, you save 3 cents per gallon every single day, which does scale up actually to a higher discount when you do reach the premium level.
It's not the max level.
It's not the max
Don't let
level.
him gaslight you.
Don't let him gaslight you. Plenty of other deals as well, especially on those Polar Pops and Frosters. Join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply. At participating locations, visit circlek.com for details. Right, Rees. Any other business? Let's go. USL Championship, any other business?
Not really. Miami FC is making some signings that actually don't look half bad.
Miami FC signing players?
I know. Sebastian
That
Blanco.
don't look half bad?
Sebastian Blanco.
What is
I guess
going
he's
on?
36, but I did know he's old. But Sebastian Blanco used to be captain of Portland Timbers for a bit. Played twice for Argentina in 2010. But, I mean, I don't know. Every time I see Miami FC sign a player, I get a little weirded out. It just kind of weirds me out. Like, why are you trying? You know, you're going to play in front of 15 people, but if that.
Rees, Miami FC fan.
No.
They've all left for Inter Miami.
Yeah.
It's definitely an interesting one. There we go. Colorado Springs Switchbacks, new ownership. Sole ownership now, by the sounds, from one of their big sponsors up there. Reese, any thoughts on the impact that could have?
I mean, who really knows? Because we don't really know who these people are. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, they do have that nice stadium there, and they just signed Marco Micheletto too. So, they're clearly gonna try and have another push for another title. But I mean, again, with some of these ownership groups, it's just kind of like you see the name and be like, oh, that's cool, but you really don't know anything about it.
All right, let's start talking. The US Open Cup first round schedule is out, by the way. We do know what is going on in there. Let's run through the games. I want to hear what you think as we go through, Reese.
All right.
Tell me if you are if you're feeling good about this one or you're not that interested in each game. Okay, we'll start on the Tuesday. Hartford Athletic from USL Championship playing New York Shockers in NPSL.
I have no interest in any Hartford Athletic match.
There we go.
No
and
offense.
remember, first team that I'm listing is obviously the home team. In each case, Sarasota Paradise from USL League 2 will host League 1's FC Naples.
We will be there.
We will be there.
I feel like that is going to be a real
classic
sicko match.
Open Cup tie.
Lalo
right
Delgado too
Sarasota
for FC
Paradise.
Naples. That could be one that is going to be like I think that's going
We
to be
got more Naples
burner.
coming in here. The Miami FC will host Naples United of NPSL.
Naples has 2 clubs.
Naples has
Wow.
it's got an NPSL club as well, yeah.
Wow.
Okay, moving on. New Jersey Alliance from UPSL will face the Chattanooga Red Wolves. That one currently doesn't have a venue. But
that's going to be a classic.
New Jersey Alliance.
That's going to be a classic.
That's going to be one of those first round games that gets delayed because high school lacrosse is overrunning. That's what that's going to be. This is why we love the Open Cup. Here we go. A real classic here with Westchester SC in League One. They're going to be traveling, though. They're going to be playing NPSL's FC Motown.
Motown's good. Westchester signed some very
That one's going to be at MSU Soccer Park in Montclair, New Jersey.
I've been there. Ground
it is. I've been there. I saw a game there. Very nice, very scenic.
I was back Motown in a cup upset. So
Motown Cup sets, okay. Right, we move on. Asheville City in League Two will be playing Greenville Triumph from League One.
No interest. No offense,
interest.
But none.
All right, there's another Westchester in here. It's Westchester United. They're going to be playing Loudon. From I don't even know what league Westchester United play in. It's just saying USASA, which is US Adult Soccer Association.
Interesting.
Moving on, Texoma FC playing Foro SC.
Foro? Why do they sound familiar?
I feel like they've played in the cup before.
Yeah,
they're a
sound
UPSL
really
team.
familiar. I feel like did they beat? They beat. I think who'd they play? That's right. They beat Austin FC2 and Pens last year in the Open Cup.
There we go. There we go. Thank you, Rees. Thank you, Rees. And of course, this one. You know what? We're talking about games where you will be there. This is one where you will be there.
I'm excited.
The Tulsa Derby. Tulsa Athletic is hosting FC
They're
Tulsa.
hosting? Yes.
Tulsa Athletic
We will be there.
will host FC Tulsa again at the
in that
Athletic
random park?
Community Stadium, Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Is that
I don't know.
stadium in the random park?
I don't know if it's the random park. No, it's not.
Oh, no. Then there's no point. Wait,
no, it is.
It is?
Wait, Athletic Community Field is Hicks Park, yeah.
Get in. That I absolutely
this man
love
has
that
never
stadium.
been more excited.
That stadium,
it is.
in
They're
the middle of
playing
the park.
there, yeah.
Once the sun sets, you almost can't see a thing. You just see dust come up. That's what the Open Cup's all about. That's what the Open Cup's all about.
ALLCITY FC, by the way, League One will be hosting Ventura County Fusion of League Two.
No interest. No.
All right, then we move on to presumably Next Pro Hate Watch. As we move on to the Wednesday game.
We're always there for Next Pro Hate Watches.
Columbus Crew 2 against New York Renegades.
New York Renegades.
UPSL team.
Interesting.
That'll be I'm not sure if the clocks have changed at that point or not, but that could be a 3 p.m. kickoff.
I looked up New York Renegades and it takes me to a minor league baseball team. So we're backing them.
We're backing them baseball team. Let's go. Chattanooga Football Club, Chattanooga FC. They're in Next Pro, but they're an independent team playing Corpus Christi FC of League Two.
Interesting. I mean, Corpus Christi's been trying to get to
See,
League One,
this talk is just too hot right now.
This is Don Garber trying to shut down the Open Cup talk.
This. He heard exactly that we're talking down MLS Next Pro, and that we're gonna keep talking though. You may not be able to see us. We're gonna keep talking. Appalachian FC playing One Knoxville. It's NPSL against League One. It will be in Boone, North Carolina.
Appalachian FC is a really cool badge.
They do.
It's like
they do.
What is it? Bigfoot? Yeti?
There we go. Hey! You can't shut us down, Garber. Right, moving on. Richmond Kickers League One. Historic team.
Did you see their new badge?
I have, yeah. Interesting. Against Virginia Dream.
Oh, they sound amazing.
Of the VSSL, which I can only imagine is...
Oh, my gosh.
Don Garber, you will not win, Don Garber. Okay,
look at this badge. I don't even know what to explain that as.
They play in the Virginia Super Soccer League.
Oh, this is incredible.
This is football heritage.
We are backing Virginia Dream.
All right, we need to move on because we got to get through all of these. Inter Miami CF2 against Miami United.
Miami United
to the moon.
Absolutely.
Sporting KC2 of Next Pro against Des Moines Menace. League 2.
Des Moines Menace. They'll probably sign a bunch of MLS retirees again.
Lexington Sporting Club of the Championship playing Southern Indiana FC from UPSL.
Southern Indiana FC. That sounds amazing.
Here we go. League 2 side. Little Rock Rangers. They're playing Birmingham Legion FC.
Back Little Rock there.
You're back in Little Rock. Little Rock Rangers to pull off the upset against Danny Trejo and Ronaldo Damas.
You think they play them?
at the Episcopal Collegiate School Wildcat Stadium in Little Rock, Arkansas?
Not a shot. In my
Not
opinion.
a shot. I
Not
mean,
a
they might.
shot.
Again, you know what, guys? You know what? You may not be able to see us. Don Garber is trying to interfere with us, apparently. That's what Rees has decided.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Speaking of Don Garber, no, we're not quite there yet. El Paso Locomotive against Harpo's FC from the Colorado League they play in.
Harpo's?
Harpo's.
Huh. Harpo's.
It is the Colorado Premier League.
Colorado Premier League. Let's see. Harpo's FC, Colorado Best Soccer Football.
They're
US
from
Open Cup.
Boulder. I like the badge.
I don't hate it.
I don't hate
Colorado
it. I mean, it's
flag
also
with the
very
mountain.
generic Colorado
Yeah.
flag badge.
Yeah.
Speaking of it, though, will they be going down here, the next pro team? Real Monarchs hosting everyone's favorite, El Farolito.
We can never not back El Farolito, the Burrito Brava. We will be there when El Farolito pull off the upset.
Monterey Bay, USL Championship side, of course, facing International San Francisco from the San Francisco Soccer Football League. Yes, that's the name of the league.
Wow.
That's a historic league, that one.
Let's
The
see.
San Francisco Soccer Football League.
Boring badge for International San Francisco, so I'm gonna have to go with Monterey Bay there. It's
Take
just
your
simple
Monterey Bay.
black
He's
and
taking
gray.
Monterey
Terrible.
Bay. Ventura County FC against Laguna United FC.
MLS Next Pro Hate Watch. We
Mate.
will be there when Laguna United win.
Laguna United of UPSL will win that one. Ballard FC against Spokane Velocity.
Didn't they play last
They
year?
played last year, yeah. Spokane with the win at the very death. What are we taking here? Are we coming
Ballard.
back? Are we coming back? No, we're not yet. We may be coming back shortly. LAFC 2 of Next Pro against FC Arizona.
FC
From,
Arizona all day, every day.
You're taking FC Arizona to beat LAFC 2.
Absolutely.
NPSL side, they'll be traveling to Titan Stadium in Fullerton, California. Now we're on to the last few. We've got to really rush through these. Portland Hearts of Pine League 1 against CD Firenze of the BSSL, some Massachusetts league.
Portland Hearts of Pine have nice kits, and I have no idea who the other team is. Come on,
What
Portland.
is the BSSL? I'll keep looking at it while you answer the next one. Long Island Rough Riders against Charlotte Independence.
Charlotte Independence. I totally forgot they were still playing, to be honest. Long Island Rough Riders. Come
There we are.
on.
By the way, the BSSL is the Bay State Soccer League.
Huh.
Again, football heritage. There's Forward Madison against Duluth FC.
Duluth. I'm
Duluth,
pretty sure they have a good
NPSL.
badge, if I'm thinking of.
Are you picking this purely on badges?
Absolutely, because I
All
don't
right.
know who any of these teams are.
South Georgia Tormentor against Harbor City FC from UPSL.
Harbor City sounds amazing.
Harbor City FC sounds electric.
Absolutely. Oh, great badge. Good
Great badge
colours.
as well. Okay, good. Thank you, Rees. He's really picking these right ones. Carolina Core from Next Pro are playing Soda City FC.
Carolina
a
Core
UPSL team.
has an amazing badge, I think.
Soda City is an interesting one.
It's not bad. I don't hate
For a
it. It's
UPSL
yeah.
team, I can live with that.
Yeah, it's not like a generic
I've accidentally
template,
just
so-
closed the first round schedule. I'll have to pull it back up again now. FC Cincinnati 2 against historic New York Pan-Cyprian Freedoms
Yeah.
of the Eastern Premier Soccer League. The Pan-Cyprian Freedoms have won this cup like 6 times. Oh, are we coming back?
Oh my
We're coming
gosh.
back. Hey! How are we feeling? Pan-Cyprian Freedoms?
Pan-Cyprian Freedom.
Every time. Forget FC
All day,
Cincinnati
every
2.
day.
Pan-Cyprian Freedoms. It's going to happen. Flatirons FC of USL League 2 against Union Omaha.
Who is it? Sorry, against Union Omaha?
Flatirons FC.
Flatirons. That's amazing. We will be backing them.
Iconic name. We've lost you again. Don Garber is trying to keep us down, so it's calling all these. They got an amazing badge as well. To be
That
fair,
is very good.
that is
Yeah.
a very good badge. Will they take Union Omaha? We'll see. Tacoma Defiance, MLS Next Pro against Washington Athletic Club from Seattle Recreational Adult Team Soccer. What are we thinking?
That's not quite Rats, right?
It is Rats.
It is. Oh, it is Rat.
Yeah,
Oh my.
They normally
oh,
leave
wait.
Seattle off.
Recreational.
Recreational Adult Team Soccer. Yeah.
Well, I honestly forgot Tacoma Defiance is a team too, because once you leave USL, you are dead to me, in my opinion. But I mean, the Rats, they produced the greatest team in the world.
I mean,
Greatest
again, their
badge,
logo
Sharky
for
Buzz.
the league is just a football, like the classic, like clip
Absolutely.
art football,
Beautiful.
with rats written on a banner across it and like a bolt of lightning. I don't know if we're going to end up getting back on camera here before we've run out of time here or not at this moment in time. Kyle's working on it. Our boy Kyle is running at this moment in time. Oh, man. Hang on. Whoa. It is 6:59, so we're kind of running out of time here. I'm guessing at this point we're just going to run over a little bit, But Rees, pick of the draw.
I'm just sad there's no Sharktopus, to be honest.
Shocked there's no Sharktopus. Well, they didn't make it in.
I know.
Did they?
I mean,
know.
we love Sharktopus here.
But when you're seeing teams that have things like the Bay State Soccer League, when they play in a league, hang on, mate, I'm looking at who are the teams in their league. They got Providence City FC, FC Omens. They've got a team that's just called Eagles. Rovers FC. They play against MIT. These guys they're great, clearly.
MIT, huh?
There's a lot of teams in this whole setup here that have got some
Promotion
interesting
and relegation.
They do have promotion and relegation.
Wow.
4 divisions.
See, Don Garber's trying
of
to make
promotion
sure you
and relegation.
can turn this off as fast as possible.
I see. It's not coming, is it? We get Kyle there. You can see Kyle at least. You know what? As we're getting ready to sign off here, you're just gonna have a look at Kyle now for the rest of it as we talk away. I think to just round us out here, but I will say just as a shout out before we go away, it is of course National Girls and Women in Sports Day, and of course remember that in a few weeks' time you got the US Women's National Team coming here to
She Believes Cup.
Phoenix for the She Believes Cup. They will be playing Australia in that one as part of a doubleheader that will also see Japan and Colombia in town. So that's going to be an interesting one. I will see you there if you're making the trip. I probably won't. I'll be hiding away in the press box, but I will maybe see you there.
Don't be so antisocial.
If you're going up there. They don't easily let you walk around wherever you want when you're doing those kind of games. It's not quite 58 in Washington. But it should be a good one. And of course, lots more Phoenix Rising stuff to come over the coming days and weeks. Make sure to follow along on the website, gophnx.com. We'll have some written content over the next few weeks. You can, of course, make sure to check out on Twitter. I am OJ Evans18. We got Rees is
at Rees11_.
Rees11_. Kyle, who's just sitting there with the most awkward look on the poor guy's face right now.
K-Coop Sports.
K-Coop Sports. And you can follow Max, but you shouldn't because
no, you shouldn't.
He's not here. We love you really, Max, but no, we're not going to encourage people to follow you on Twitter. You can follow, of course, the pod at PHNX__rising because double the underscore.
Double the cameras that didn't work today.
It's Don Garber's hacking in, I think. All the art talk on Next Pro, it's not working.
Exactly.
Right. Remember, you can find us next week. Exactly. Same place. Same time. Maybe there'll be a Max this time. Maybe there'll be a camera this time. Who knows? Maybe there will be. But we will see you back here on Wednesday at 6 o'clock. We'll see you then.
We all silly like the mayor.